And he was, I've had generals tell me, we have some great generals, the real generals, not the ones you see on television, the ones that beat ISIS with me. We defeated ISIS in record time. It was supposed to take years, and we did it in a matter of weeks.
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Joe Rogan getting slammed by David Pakman. David Pakman is calling Joe Rogan out for siding with Trump. I'm giving my commentary. Let's watch.
Rogan interview with Donald Trump reconfirmed Trump's memory is gone. His brain is mush. His cognition has turned to mayonnaise. I've got a bunch of examples. These are from the Rogan interview. Donald Trump claimed that he was on Oprah's show last Thursday. Her show ended more than a decade ago. Okay? Take Exhibit A.
When you were on Oprah's show,
Very.
she was encouraging you to be
Last
president.
week, I did one of her last shows, I think.
Last week, I did one of her last shows.
Maybe Thursday or Friday. That was a big deal.
It was Thursday or Friday of last week. The show has been over for more than a decade.
You to be
Last week,
president.
I did one of her last shows, I think. Maybe Thursday or Friday. That was a big deal, being on Oprah's show, the last one. And I was like one of the last shows in that last.
Very, very weird. Very weird. What is Trump talking about? Trump tried to do one of his history stories, completely fabricates it. Trump claims that President Lincoln was depressed because his son had died, but his son died 6 years after Lincoln. So it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm standing in the White House. And it was very, very surreal. That room was so beautiful to me, much more beautiful than it actually is. You know, to me, when I looked at the bed, and the bed you could see it was a little bit longer, had to be a little bit longer. He lost his son, and they suffered, the two of them suffered from melancholia. They didn't call it depression. They called it melancholia, and they suffered from it. He was a very depressed guy, and she was a very depressed woman, more so than him. And on top of that, they lost their son, whose name was Ted. And it was just seeing it in the little pictures,
Yeah. So anyway, Tad died 6 years after Lincoln died. Trump then has no memory of playing golf right after getting shot. This is really weird. And Rogan sort of tries to convince him, no, you did play golf right after you got shot. Trump seems to have no memory of it whatsoever.
But it gives me a little exercise. But I haven't played in a long time. I won 32 club championships.
Didn't you play right after you got shot?
No. What I did is I played with Bryson DeChambeau. Do you know Bryson?
Yes.
The pro.
Uh-huh.
He's a great player. And we played, it was a certain thing that we played, I guess called breaking 50 or something. 50, we play from a certain tee, and if you can break 50. And it got tremendous ratings. It was sort of like a crazy thing. It got he's a great guy.
But wasn't that like a couple
golfer.
of days after you got shot?
I don't know. I know I haven't.
That was one of the funniest things. You were on the golf course.
I think I did, yeah, maybe I did.
Not to get too conspiratorial here, but I am sure that Donald Trump was not wanting to say, oh yeah, I was out there, playing golf right after I got shot, because, he wants to play that pity vote more than ever. I'm not saying that it was staged so that he'd get pity. I'm not saying, that could be something that people would say, as far as like, oh, look, he faked this so that he could get majority of America to vote for him through that, that ginormous event that happened. And he didn't want to draw attention to, oh, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to go play golf with it. That seems like why he got a little bit defensive right there and didn't even want to, mention it. I'm not wanting to psychoanalyze it, but it does seem like he was dodging that just a tad bit too much.
Rogan has to convince Trump, like, no, golf, no. I don't even play any. I haven't played for a while. What? What are you talking about? You're playing golf all the time, and you were on the golf course the next day. What do you mean? And by the end of this, Trump's like, maybe I did. Yeah, I don't know. Is it that Trump doesn't remember? Is it that Trump is just so used to lying about everything for no reason that he's just like, I don't know, I'll just keep lying? Rogan asked Trump what it was like on his first day in office. Trump doesn't understand the question. Rogan clarifies the question. Trump still doesn't understand the question of what was it like on your first day as president?
You don't really know what it's going to be like when you actually get into office. What did you think it was going to be like?
In office or when I decided to run?
So no, when you got in.
When I was in. So when I was in and won and was in the White House, essentially.
Yes.
Well, first of all, it was very surreal.
I would imagine.
It's very interesting. When I got shot, it wasn't surreal. That should have been surreal. When I was laying on the ground, I knew exactly what was going on. I knew exactly where I was hit. They were saying you were hit all over the place because there was so much blood from the ear. You would know that better than anyone. When they get the ear torn up,
ears bleed a lot. Yeah,
bleed. Anyway, so and I was thinking the other day, when that happened, I really knew where I was. I knew exactly what happened. I said I wasn't hit anywhere else. With the presidency, it was a very surreal experience. Okay,
like what's day one like? You win.
Yeah,
you get inaugurated. Holy shit, I'm the president.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so Trump opting to tell a story about his ear when he's asked about his first day in the White House. And finally, Donald Trump claimed that Lincoln had a phobia of Robert E. Lee and that they didn't get along or something. Lincoln and Robert E. Lee never met. I mean, it's another one of these completely fabricated stories.
I don't know. I've never read this. I heard it from people in the White House who really understand what was going on with the whole life of the White House. But Lincoln had the yips about, in a way, as the golfers would say. He had a phobia about Robert E. Lee. He said, I can't beat Robert, because Robert E. Lee won many battles in a row. He was just beating the hell out of him. You know, they tried to get Robert.
And what's worse is that you have Joe Rogan who's just letting him be weird. He's just letting him, it seems like he's almost a little bit intimidated by him, by Donald Trump. And he's just outright letting him completely talk about whatever he wants to talk about. Oh, I don't want to talk about this. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. It's a one-way street. And I would have to say it's not good faith with, being a journalist, with wanting to uncover the actual truth of the situation of who is the best candidate.
Robert E. Lee to be on the North, but he said, no, I have to be with my state. The state was his whole thing, and he went to the South. And he was, I've had generals tell me, we have some great generals, the real generals, not the ones you see on television, the ones that beat ISIS with me. We defeated ISIS in record time. It was supposed to take years, and we did it in a matter of weeks. These are great generals. These are tough guys. These are not woke guys. But their favorite general, in terms of genius, was Robert E. Lee.
In terms of strength.
Yeah. So anyway, he tells this Lincoln phobia story about Robert E. Lee. Historians have investigated it. They have been able to find no evidence of it whatsoever. So in sum total, Trump incoherent during the interview, telling a number of completely made-up stories that are they seem indicative of Trump's memory being gone, and Rogan doing a pretty mediocre job with the occasional question that gets Trump to say something really, really dumb. In the net, there are those saying this interview is the death of the Trump campaign, and there are those saying this interview just saved Trump's campaign because so many people saw it. My prediction is it doesn't move the needle one way or the other.
So there we have it, you guys. And let me know what y'all think in the comments, whether that interview was pivotal to the Trump campaign, to Trump getting elected. I personally remember right after Trump got elected that you had people in the polling booths outside of D.C., they were on the news saying, oh, Joe Rogan, he really inspired me to get out here and to come vote today for Donald Trump to, we want to save America. We really want to make sure that we don't get into, Great Depression. And it's like, yeah, so, you can see that it did it makes an impact. Definitely makes an impact on, the viewers, whoever's viewing, the culture at the moment can see that you have a lot of right-wing influences. You have a lot, maybe too many, if you ask me. And I think that is going to gradually shift over the next 4 years, over the next 3 years, whenever people say what they asked for. What they bought. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.